actually turned it down. I'm not sure how it rang. And I'm going to apologize in advance for all of those who I just made the announcement to turn your phones down. My phone, of course, we have somebody who joined in that we need, and I have turned my phone down, but there's just a little volume, so whenever it rings, I'll turn it off, so bear with me. Okay. Okay.
Testing 1, 2.
Okay, we're ready?
I just announced something for the record. Our audio doesn't appear to be working. We have 3 forms of stream. That's through our digital recorder from Business Information Systems. It's not connecting the visual to the audio. I do have a visual. And I'm trying to stream through the third source, which is called ODS Studio. I will have to publicly record on our phones for the meeting. This is our final budget hearing. So I do need to have the source of recording. Of course, your next meeting and the meeting thereafter. We will need time between all 3 meetings.
Okay. And we are live via the YouTube webpage, YouTube.
I can't tell you if you are or not, but I did sign on to YouTube, but the computer right now.
Okay, all righty, so noted.
Still saying it's set.
Okay.
It says there's an excellent connection in the Biz Live, but I don't know what YouTube
Ms. Albright, can you put your mic down in front of you, please? Put your mic down.
So it appears
There
that
we
the
go.
two sources up
Okay,
with an excellent connection, but I don't have any concurrent viewers on YouTube right now.
okay. All righty, and that does provide for archival, and I'm so sorry, speaking through the mass archival abilities, which would allow for that to take place. And as stated, as the clerk stated, just for the record, she's also taking alternative methods to secure that the meeting, all of the meetings that will take place are recorded so that persons who are desiring those records can get those in full. All right, thank you so much, and if we're ready to get started. Oh, back in the 70s. Okay. Oh, thanks. Okay, thank you so much, and we appreciate you taking the opportunity to just wait along with us as we work out some audio and technical difficulties. At this time, we're ready to call the Town of Magonia Park 2020-21 final budget hearing session, and to call into session of September 22nd, 2020. Roll call, please.
Mayor Alberry.
Here.
Vice Mayor Johnson. Here. Councilmember Green.
Here.
And Councilmember McConnell.
Here. Thank you so much. We have now called to order. At this point in time, we will now go to item 3, if you're following along on your agenda. This is, of course, a staff announcement, so we'll now turn this part of the meeting over to staff. Ken?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, thank you for your time this evening. Item 3A, the millage rate is 7.62% over the rollback rate of 9.1989. Item B, the proposed millage rate for fiscal year 2020-2021 is 9.9000. And C, the amount of tentative budget for 2020-2021, $4,833,480.
Thank you so much. And of course, this is a public hearing, so what we'll do is if there's any comments on the part of council, we've had full discussion and quite a few workshops, but if there's any comment from council. Okay. Hearing none, and if there's any comment from the public as it relates to the proposed budget, the information has been shared. You may have a document in hand as well as the information provided verbally by the town manager. At this time, the floor is open for public comment as it relates to the proposed 2020-2021 Town of Magonia Park budget. Hearing that there is no comment from the public, we'll close the floor to public comment. And at this point in time, as it relates to the millage rate, that which has been stated, that is at 6.2 with a rollback rate of 9.1989 as stated. Is there a motion that we adopt the proposed millage rate of 9.9000?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt the millage rate of 9.9000 for the new year, 2020-2021.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Has been properly moved and seconded.
And Mayor, that is by resolution. Did you want me to read the title?
No, certainly my apologies, and I had that in front of me. Keith, at this time, we have it read by title. Thanks so much, Keith.
Thank you, Mayor. This is Resolution 2020-08, resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Mangonia Park, Florida, adopting the final millage rate for the Town of Mangonia Park for fiscal year commencing October 1, 2020, ending September 30, 2021, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
Thanks so much. We've had discussion. You've also heard it read by resolution, had it read by title. Are there any other questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Green.
Yes.
Councilmember McConnell.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yes.
Mayor Alberry.
Yes.
It passes unanimously.
Thank you so much. We're going to continue on to item 6, and this, of course, is a motion to adopt the final budget. This is by way of resolution number 2020-09, and we've had discussion on both the budget and the millage rate. So with that, we'll have it read by title.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2020-09, resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Mangonia Park, Florida, adopting final budget for fiscal year 2020-2021, providing that the budget hereby adopted may be adjusted or modified either by motion of the Town Council recorded in the minutes, by budget office or procedures established by the council, or by subsequent resolution of the Town Council, providing an effective date and for other purposes.
Thank you so much. It has been read by title. Is there a motion at this time that we adopt the final budget as stated there, subject to just grammatical and other technical things that may have to be resolved? Any group? Not that there are, but should there be? Is there such a motion?
I so move that approve the budget stated resolution 2020-09.
Okay, motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded that we adopt resolution number 2020-09. That is, of course, the adoption of the 2020-2021 Mangonia Parktown budget. Are there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much. Seeing that those were the only items before us as it relates to the budget, we thank you so much for all of your time and attention. At this point in time, we'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. It is carried. Thanks so much. We're going to take just a moment, and then we'll get right into the P&Z meeting. So we ask that you just stand by with us, and we really appreciate you attending. So, just before we begin the Planning and Zoning Board meeting, if there is any questions or if anyone in attendance has anything that you want to, any questions or comments, we ask, I think there's some comment cards on the back table. We would ask if you would just fill out that comment card. That would sort of help us to facilitate the process and ensure that you have any questions or comments or that you may have that'll be addressed properly. Thank you so much. And we'll give you a moment for that. We're still just going to take a moment to allow you the opportunity to do that. And if, by chance, and just a continued housekeeping issues, and if for chance you don't have the opportunity to write your stated comments or concerns, just fill it out, put your name, and then when we call you, then you can state it at that time, okay? Again, we thank you so much for your patience, and thank you so much for attending. At this point in time, we're going to call the Town of Mangonia Park Planning and Zoning Board Board of September 22nd, 2020 into session. Roll call, please. Here.
Yes, here.
Here.
Thank you so much. And of course, this is a public hearing as it relates to a master land use plan. Of course, the enclave at Mangonia Park, the applicant is here. We also have with us our administration as well as our attorney and our planner. for the record. So what I'm going to do at this point in time, if there's any information, we'll begin with administration. If there's anything you'd like to preface at this point?
Yes, sir, you said it, but I will have Keith, our attorney, Keith Davis, provide some opening comments.
Mangonia Park is a small community, but we have one of the most complicated PUD codes that I have ever seen. It's extremely complicated, and there are a lot of steps. As you all are aware, this particular application has already been through a number of them. They have received their special exception approval to develop the site as a PUD, as a residential PUD. They've obtained a variance for one particular aspect of the project. There's been a code change that has to do with some of the infrastructure that we've processed. One of the things our PUD code contemplates is that a PUD could have both residential and commercial uses and could be developed in phases. Neither of those things apply to this particular application. This application is for a residential-only land use and to be developed in one phase. And the reason that I'm talking about all of this is because specifically we're here tonight to discuss and take action on the final master land use plan. Generally, what the final master land use plan would do would be to regulate things like phasing and how the PUD configures the commercial uses in conjunction with the residential uses. Again, as I said, neither of those things apply to this application. However, the code does require that a master land use plan be submitted and ultimately be approved by the town council. So this is not a quasi-judicial proceeding. There are no criteria per se to apply. You've been provided with the proposed land use plan, which shows you the configuration of the site, where the buildings are proposed to be, where the roads are proposed to be, how access is made, and ingress and egress to the development is proposed. So all of those things are really what you're taking action on tonight. In addition, the code provides that at the master land use stage, when that plan is being considered, if the applicant needs certain waivers of certain things, this is the time to take action on those. So in this particular case, the applicant has requested a waiver regarding the width of one or more buffers, which you'll hear about, and that is appropriate to take action on tonight as part of the master land use plan. So those are really the things that the master land use plan are about. Now, after this part of the application, we then finally get to the parts of this development that we're all most familiar with: preliminary site plan and final site plan. And those certainly are quasi-judicial proceedings. There's a lot of criteria and a lot of detail. Those are the hearings when you really get into the weeds on particulars. However, tonight, this is a public hearing, or it's been publicly noticed. Everybody's together in the room. It would be a good opportunity to perhaps have a discussion about things like what the buildings are going to look like, and if you have questions about landscaping, and this would be a good opportunity to give the applicant an idea of the things you're going to be looking for when you do get finally to preliminary and final site plan. But in terms of planning and zoning board and town council action, the action item is the master land use plan, and that really is the things that I explained. Now, right now you're sitting as the planning and zoning board again. to the complexity of this code. The code contemplates the master land use plan being presented to the Planning and Zoning Board, and the Planning and Zoning Board making a recommendation to the Town Council, which would then render the final approval. Well, as you know, you sit both as the Planning and Zoning Board and as the Town Council, so, but because the code requires that process, you have to start as the Planning and Zoning Board. I suppose it makes sense that all of the hard work will happen at the Planning and Zoning Board. That would be a good opportunity to do all of those things, hear from the public, make suggestions, and then the Planning and Zoning Board's final action will be to make a recommendation to the Town Council. Then all that's left tonight is to adjourn as the Planning and Zoning Board, reconvene as the Town Council to take action on your own recommendation when you were sitting as the Planning and Zoning Board. So really, the Town Council part of tonight should be, it really is just because the code requires it, but there shouldn't be any additional work because it's the same group of people, it's the same application, it's quite frankly, the same room, the same people in the same evening. So those would be my prefatory comments, and I certainly would, if either the planner or the manager feel like I've misstated something, I'd be happy to discuss that, but that, in my view, is what's on the menu for tonight.
Thanks so much, Keith, for the explanation, and we want to make sure that everyone understands what the function is, and so we do thank you for that. We also have Nils Hall Planner. I don't know if she has any comments at this time, if she wants to defer, or...
I believe the applicant has a presentation, and I would like to add some statement after the presentation.
Okay, so noted. Absolutely. So what we'll do then, and the applicant is present, we're going to ask if the applicant or a representative would just come forward and just state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Doug Murray with the BDI on behalf of the applicant. So yes, we do have a pretty brief presentation. As the town attorney mentioned, we've been doing this project for quite a while now. As you see over there, we started our initial submittal. On June 25th of 2019, so we've been going at it for more than a year now. We got our DOT hearing, we had a pre-hearing conference for the special exception for a PUD, December 17th, 2019. We had the variance approval to allow the 6 units per building versus a 4 unit per building, and the last hearing was the text amendment for privately installed sewer lines and facilities to be privately installed and operated. That was May 19th, 2020. So this is the rendered version of the master site plan, master land use plan. You're probably familiar with it at this point, but I'll quickly go through some of the elements because yes, we are requesting a waiver from the PUD buffer. So to the northeast of the site, we have adjacent to the industrial, we have a 30-foot buffer and 6-foot wall, also adjacent to the railroad tracks, which exceeds the 25-foot minimum buffer, and we're proposing a 6-foot wall. Along the south side of the property and the west side of the property, there is a code requirement of a 25-foot buffer. However, it allows town council to waive that, reduce it, or waive it in any way. What we're proposing is a 20-foot buffer on both sides with a 6-foot vinyl fence. Along with landscaping, we're actually exceeding code requirements on landscaping. We're providing a substantial amount of trees in excess of the landscape requirements. And again, we have our gated entrance off of the future West Place connection. We have an emergency access That'll be on the lake shore. And along the interior of the property, we have actually added some elements that differ from our prior submittal on the rec/open space areas. We did have the pool and cabana already, we've added some walking trails, we've added a tot lot there in the southeast corner, and some additional passive open spaces. So as I just mentioned, the 25-foot buffer is the requirement, and we're requesting a 5-foot reduction of that. However, to help mitigate that, we're providing the 6-foot vinyl fence as well as the additional landscape. And based on the adjacent land uses, we think that's a good compromise. Actually, let me go over one other item here. Next slide. So, I just want to run through the 45th Street improvements that the developer will be constructing. So we have constructing the entrance onto 45th Street from the future West Place. There's a lengthening of the westbound left turn lane on Congress Avenue. There is a lengthening of the beginning of the left turn lane and converting it to a northbound right turn lane at Escondido. And the final improvement is a lengthening of the eastbound left turn lane on South Place. So those are all were a requirement from the county per code and per the traffic study, and that is being constructed by the developer. And now the next slide, I'm going to switch to talk about a little bit about the financial contributions that will be the responsibility of the developer. We have the water and sewer fees are going to total almost $260,000. That's about $1,600 per unit. And then we get to the impact fees that are going to be paid as part of this project. So we're looking at, with 162 units, approximately $10,000 per unit. And the total impact fees, again, that's libraries, parks, public buildings, roads, schools, is going to be a little over $1.6 million that is going to be contributed from this as a result of this project. In conclusion, the proposed master land use plan complies with the Town of Mangonia Park Code. All offset improvements required to meet code for FDOT or county standards will be constructed by the applicant. Again, approximately $470,000 worth of offset improvements. And the developer will be responsible for paying about $1.6 million in impact fees and about $260,000 to the Mangonia Park Utilities Department. And that concludes my presentation. We do have other, more detailed slides that we have if needed, but I'd like to kind of end it there and get some feedback from the mayor and folks in the council.
Thank you so much. We can ask if you just stay there, and if there's other representatives that may be able to come up and answer some questions, and because I'm sure there will be some questions. Can you have something at this time? Oh, there are some comment cards. We'll take some council comments and questions, and then we'll go to the floor, and we'll address the comment cards as well. So at this point in time, if there's any comments or questions that council has, any council comments or questions? Vice Mayor?
Yes, thank you. I'm interested that you have named this project Enclave of Mangonia Park. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. The entrance into the enclave would be off of 45th Street. And I'm seeing there's some drawings, I don't know if that's what you have on the overlay, that kind of describe that entrance. Can you talk about that proposed entrance? I think you had some recommendations from traffic, and what those entrances would look like off of 45th Street.
So the entrance off of 45th Street is from a city-owned right-of-way for West Place. That's only partially developed now. So that is going to be fully constructed by the developer, and that will be the main entrance to the community.
Okay,
It's across the street from that is Escondido, Drive. So it's across from Escondido.
okay, understood. Now, in the entrance of, West Place Drive, I see the westbound traffic would have